people that have done well in the field of engineering, and also we use it to encourage young Nigerians to go into engineering, because scientists, they say, study the world the way it is, but engineers are those that create the world that has never been. And my name is Tunde Olaniro, and on this week's edition, we all know, especially for those that are conversant with the program, and those that are used to watching this program will know that it's a very, very interactive one, where we don't only get to talk to you, but you also get to talk to us and answer our question and ask our guests whatever question that is bothering you as far as engineering is concerned. And for today, we have our question for the day. The program is sponsored by Prince Engineer Yemisi Shilon, FNSC, and supported by the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Abeokuta branch. And the question for the day for you to answer is, what is the raw material used in the production of cement? What is the raw material used in the production of cement? If you know the answer, pick up your phone and call us, or go to our Facebook at Ogtv, YouTube at Ogtv Abeokuta, and on Instagram at Ogun State Television. So we'll take a very short break right now, and my guest is already seated. When we come back, I'll let you know who my guest is, and we'll start the discussion. Welcome back. My guest is Engineer Kayode Adeniji. Engineer Kayode Adeniji has a very, very rich profile, but I would like to abridge, because if we have to read this, we will not do any other thing on this edition of the program. In terms of education, he started his education at St. Peter's School, Ake, Abeokuta, from 1967 to 1972, Lishabi Grammar School, Abeokuta, 1973 to 1978, Moshood Abiola Polytechnic, formerly Ogun State Polytechnic, 1978 to 1982. In 1996, he went through the Nigerian Society of Engineers graduateship examination, and in 1995 to 1997, University of Benin, where he has his postgraduate diploma in computer science. From there to University of Benin again, where in 1998 to 2000, where he had his master's in business administration. In terms of professional qualification, he is a fellow Nigerian Institute of Civil Engineers, current registered engineer, fellow Institute of Credit Administration, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, a member Nigerian Institute of Management, member Nigeria Computer Society, member Project Institute UK, among so many others. He worked with the Ogun State government from 2017 to 2019, where he held the position of General Manager, Ogun State Agro Service Corporation. He was also the State Senior Special Assistant to the Ogun State Governor on special projects, and General Manager, CEO, Ogun State Plant Gate Company Limited, Abeokuta. Like I said earlier on, if we go ahead and do this, we won't do anything. You are welcome to this week's edition of Engineering and You, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, viewers.
You are a man of so many parts, from civil engineering to computer engineering to business administration. How were you able to fit into all of this and still be effective?
Thank you for inviting me to this program. First and foremost, I give all glory to Almighty God. Engineering is my first love. But if you can be able to cope with engineering very much well, you'll be able to do a lot of other things. At the risk of being modest, you find a lot of people who are engineers, and they go ahead to study law, and a lot of engineers that are lawyers, a lot of engineers that are chartered accountants. I can tell you, you cannot find, I've never found anyone. I challenge you to tell me an accountant who goes ahead. That was engineering is so versatile. And I've been in a small way conquered engineering, civil engineering for that matter. We decided to go into other areas, that's computer applications. I did that, and when you are going up the ladder, if you want to go into why I went to business administration, you need to know economics, you need to know management, you need to know business, and a lot of other things to be able to cope with the world, the upper echelon of the professions.
So some engineers I've spoken to in the course of this program, I've always said, argued between knowledge of mathematics and knowledge of information technology to be an effective and a good student of engineering.
Yeah.
Now, if I would ask you, what side will you tilt to, mathematics or ICT?
Or IT?
IT, yeah, information.
No, IT is technology. IT is a form of engineering. And mathematics is a basic raw material, together with other sciences like physics and chemistry. If you don't know mathematics, you can't do engineering. It's impossible. And if you don't know mathematics, again, you will not be very too good in computer applications. So, first and foremost, it's a sine qua non of engineering and technology. That's mathematics. So you can't take it away from it. It's impossible.
All right. Our topic for today is relationship of engineering with economic growth and development of a nation. And then that's what I'll be engaging my guest with. So if you have your answers to your question or your question for my guest, please go ahead and give us the answers. Let's have the chat on Facebook, and we'll get the answers you'll get the prize courtesy our sponsor, Prince Engineer Yemisi Shilon, FNSC. Now, what in a society where engineering is not really developed, how will the economy look like?
Yeah, the result of the question you ask is exactly what is happening in a country like ours. There's no way you can develop without engineering. There's no way you can grow without engineering. There's no way a nation can be wealthy, right, without engineering and technology. The father of economics, Adam Smith, is a Scottish, is a philosopher, and is a political economist. He said the wealth of a nation is a function of the aggregation of fulfillment of the needs of self-interest of individuals. For instance, if an individual needs something and is looking for it, in the process of doing that, is contributing. Aggregation of the individual contribution of wealth is what makes a nation great. And they are dependent on three things: farm outputs, manufacturing, and labor to produce all those things. Each of the three, especially farm outputs, and manufacturing, they are all dependent. The maximization of them is a function of technology and engineering. Take for instance somebody who is using hoe and cutlass to do farming. Comparing with somebody doing tractorization or mechanized farming, the result is obviously tilting on the mechanization. That's engineering. Manufacturing, without manufacturing production, no economy can grow. Because if, like Nigeria now, we are basically a consuming economy. We don't produce, and that's why our GDP is very low. So that's what they call, in Adam Smith call it invisible hands of free markets. The invisible hands of the free market is what constitutes the wealth of a nation. And the wealth of a nation, like I said, depends on farm output, depends on manufacturing. Now, for instance, I would rather stretch the question a little bit far. What are the indices of development of a nation? The first index of profession is purchasing power parity, PPP. The second one is human development index.
Okay, Timmy, good evening. How is Ife today?
Ife is good today, thank you.
Hello, Timmy.
Hello, I'm hearing you. I want to answer the question.
All right, go ahead.
And the answer to the question is blindfold.
All right, I'll let you know if you are right or wrong. Just keep watching. Thank you so much for calling.
You're welcome.
All right, sorry for cutting.
Yeah, the indices of development of a nation, right? Of the growth of the wealth of a nation. The indices, number one, purchasing power parity, PPP. The next one is human development index. The next one is GDP, right? Then the next other one followed by inflation. Again, military might, balance of the degree of importation and degree of exportation. If you just continue to import, or your import exceeds your exportation, you're going to have deficit balance of trade. And you have deficit balance of trade, ultimately you have deficit balance of payment. Then again, I talk about the military might, you talk about the education of people. For instance, Nigeria, as of today, children, that's the highest in the world, right? And this 18.5, 10 million of them are in the northern part of Nigeria. And 60%, this 10%, 60% of them are girls. See, they say educate a girl child, you are educating a nation. So if you are not educating girl child, we are not educating a nation. So all this what I've said, if you don't produce, it's only production, manufacturing that can up your export. And your import, if your export is very low, right, you have deficit balance and you'll be poor. And that's exactly where we are now.
All right, I'll come back to you. Victoria from Lagos. Hello, Victoria. Good evening. Victoria, are you still there?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
All right, can you speak a little bit louder? What do you want to ask my guest some question, or?
I want to answer the question.
Okay, Victoria, go ahead.
The main material used in cement production are iron.
All right, Victoria, we'll let you know if you are correct. Just keep watching. Thank you very much. Now, you have proven beyond reasonable doubt that engineering has a lot to do with economic growth and development. Yeah. Now, is this not an indictment on the engineers that we have in Nigeria? If our development is the way it is and is proportional to the level of development in our engineering fields, then does that mean that our engineering are not working, or our engineers are not working, or there's something that is making them look incompetent?
You see, it's unfortunate this program is just for 30 minutes. If to grow on that, we need more than 2-3 hours. But I will try and tell you, I will try and summarize. Why engineering or whatever seems not to be working so much in this country is the lack of political will. Let me try and explain what engineering is all about. Engineering is about application of science to...
Hello?
All right, Engineer Ladele from Ibadan.
Your discussion this evening.
All right, you can contribute.
May I let you know that technology, without the change that you are wearing at your tie, and your glasses, is engineering and technology. That your microphone, that your studio is the work of engineering. So without engineering, no nation can develop. That is just my contribution.
All right,
I'm the former technical secretary, the Grand Institute of Engineers, Ibadan.
All right, Engineer, thank you. Thank you so much for calling. Your contribution is very important to us, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, right. I'll try to explain what engineering is all about, so that you can see where we already started breaching us. Now, engineering is the application of science and scientific principles to enhance nature and natural resources for the benefit of mankind, thereby production. In other words, we define engineering somehow as engineering nature for wealth. Okay. In an attempt, I don't want to answer the question you said, but I want to say, when you want to produce, for instance, when you want to manufacture cement, you need 3 elements. I won't mention the names here. I know them. If you put them together, you get cement. If you explore and refine crude products, you get, and that's engineering, you get fuel, you get lubricants and everything. If you go into solid minerals mining, you get gold, you get aluminum, you get silver. If you go into coal mining, you get coal mining to drive your turbines, to drive electricity and locomotive. If you go into dam construction, right, to dam water and use the water and supply turbines to drive for the turbine, to give you water, they'll give you electricity, that's engineering. All these things, without engineering, you can't get the comfort that you need, and you cannot get the end result. If you don't have engineering, you'll not be able to get all these things. If you don't get cement, you'll not be able to do construction of roads, you'll not be able to do construction of bridges, you'll not be able to to build houses. So engineering is all encompassing, and we engineers study all these things to be able to produce them. But the only willpower is not there. For if you don't produce, right, you cannot use turbine to drive them. We have engineers to produce cement. We have engineers to produce energy from sun by way of solar. Engineering is such that you just have to harness all these resources, natural resources, to create wealth, to progress, and to develop a nation. So it's not as if the engineers are not there. It's not as if the engineering skills is not there. It's not as if the engineering facilities.
Increase in number of universities of engineering that we have. Some say that we should convert our polytechnics, upgrade them into universities of engineering. Are you part of that school of thought? Then secondly, how can we make sure that our engineers are up to speed with 21st century and what is going on all over the world, so that we will not be backward the way we literally are?
You see, fortunately, let me start with the first one. Fortunately, I'm a product of both Polytechnic and university. The roles are different, right? You go to Polytechnic, you are at best a technologist, right, or technical engineer. Whether you have a degree in the Polytechnic or whether you have HND diploma or whatever, they are trained to support the university graduates or whatever. They are the one that design, right? Everybody is very important. Apart from that, there used to be trade center to technical colleges. Everybody is important. The engineer does the design. The technologist or the Polytechnic graduate diploma holders will do the actual implementation, and the technical school or whatever, or what you call artisans or whatever, they will support them. There is an engineering family. Everybody is important. The masons, the bricklayers, the masons and the bricklayers, and even the draftsmen in engineering, they are there to support on that ladder. The engineer is at the top, then the technologist, then the technician, then the craftsmen, then the artisans. They're all important. So it's not. The only thing is the craze for degree is what makes it different. Even if you have a degree in the Polytechnic, you are a Polytechnic graduate, right? So it's not about it's because of the discrimination, right, by employers, some employers. That's why people want to crave for University of Technology or Polytechnic, University of Engineering. So whether you attend University of Engineering or University or Polytechnic or Polytechnic where they award degree, it doesn't really matter. Everybody is important. The roles are defined properly and the curriculum are there. Then the second question about...
I was asking about what can engineers do, or what should we be doing?
The role. Engineering and science and technology, they are all dynamic. It's not static. In our days when we are designing, we are using T-square, and we are using graph book to do our drawings. And these days they don't do that again. I'm not sure you see anybody carrying T-square and a board. We used to carry board, drawing board, all over with hand, just like you used to carry slates when you were in Paris. I'm sure you never saw slates.
I did.
We carry slates in the Paris school, but nobody carries slate these days. So even blackboard, they don't use blackboard.
They use iPad.
So these days they use iPad, and so it evolves. So everything goes that, and the 21st century challenge is such that we must evolve. We must think of we must grow with the world. We must tend towards being that not analog, going digital. That's the essence of it, and it's very, very key. And then we grow with the world.
All right. You just said something, and I'd like to take you off from there. You are a civil engineer.
Yes, please.
And there is this confusion among laymen that civil engineering and construction management, is there a relationship?
Yes.
What's the relationship? Just educate us on that. as we round up?
Management is just management of construction, right? Project management. A civil engineer is the engineer, is one who is trained to design, right? To design engineering projects in the laboratory, laboratory or drawing office, and give it for implementation. The one who manages the process, the procedure and the process is the construction manager or the project manager. He's very good if he's trained as an engineer, but he doesn't necessarily have to be a civil engineer. But if he's an engineer who is knowledgeable in project management, makes it very okay. But management, process, procedures are what the construction manager does. Whereas engineering is the design and the manufacturing or applications, as the case may be.
All right. Our time is up, but we have to go on. But in last note, I would like you to, the sponsor of this program is Prince Engineer Shillon. I don't know what your thought is about him sponsoring this program. I'd like to just say a word concerning it.
If it's a word you want, by the way, Engineer Shillon is my mentor. I worked directly under him for over 20-something years. He's the best brain engineer in engineering, as far as I know. He's a lawyer, he's a shadow stock broker. He's the largest collection of artworks in the whole of Africa. You can see that. Very versatile, and I can only wish him long life and good health because he has a lot to offer the community. We don't find them like that, too many in a century. I doff my hat for him. I encourage him to continue to sponsor the program so that our children will benefit effectively.
All right, that is it. Engineer Kayode Adeniji is doffing his hat for our sponsor, Prince Engineer MC Shillon, FNSC. And on this note, we will have to go. But we can't go until we let you know that Timi from Ife got our question correctly. The answer is limestone. And please, Timi, if you I know you are watching, just call this number 003684.
I don't want to interrupt you, sorry. It's not limestone alone, sorry. It's limestone, clay, and gypsum.
Okay.
So if she mentioned only limestone, I'm sorry. And as an addendum, it's not correct.
All right.
I'm an authority there.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for. But for the question for the week, we have to go now. But let the conversation continue. For the question for the week, but what method is used to extract copper from its ore? What method is used to extract copper from its ore? If you know the answer, please join us on all our social media handles: Facebook at Ogtv, YouTube at Ogtv Abeokuta, and Instagram at Ogun State Television. I want to say a big thank you to my guests, Engineer Kayode Adeniji, for coming to this week's edition of Engineering and You. Thank you so much, sir.
God bless you.
On behalf of the sponsor, Prince Engineer MC Shillon, FNSC, I would like to say a big thank you for watching and for staying tuned. Until next week, I would like to say bye-bye to you.
A long time ago, a dark force attacked 3 ancient kingdoms.